To just say it very plainly, we have a crisis in our schools. We have radical gender theory, and we have the over-sexualization of our children coming through curriculum being promoted by the state. Essentially, this type of curriculum that is being pushed through in health classes, sex ed classes, and other well-being classes pushes children down a pathway of potential irreversible psychological and physical harm. And if we can't all agree on the safeguarding of children, we're in sort of a social crisis, right? We have to all come together because this is a non-negotiable.
Yesterday, I caught up with Courtney Schneider, who is the Officer for Children and Families at the Australian Jewish Association, about an event they're holding this Sunday that every Victorian parent should know about.
We're organizing an event on the 29th of September on Sunday at 6 p.m. here in Caulfield because, to just say it very plainly, we have a crisis in our schools. We have radical gender theory, and we have the over-sexualization of our children coming through curriculum being promoted by the state, as well as material that is not appropriate for children. They don't have the maturity or the mental capacity to process this information in a healthy way. Essentially, this type of curriculum that is being pushed through in health classes, sex ed classes, and other well-being classes pushes children down a pathway of potential irreversible psychological and physical harm. And we think there are better ways to manage any sort of identity crisis or any sort of discomfort one has than pushing them down this path. The other side of it is that, you know, we have studies, we have longitudinal studies spanning decades of the effects of over-sexualized content on young people, and those have very negative both psychological and behavioral effects. So we've known this for years. We structure our society around protecting children appropriately, so there's no justification for this material being in our schools. So we just want to, have a community discussion about what's actually happening. This is passing under the radar of parents' knowledge. What's actually happening, how bad the problem has gotten, and what steps we can do and what action items we can take to equip parents to make it stop. This has to stop. This has to get it out of our schools, and it has to happen very soon.
I think a lot of people will be surprised to hear that it's also happening within Jewish schools. Is it actually happening in Jewish schools, or is this just an issue you guys care about?
So we work with organizations across the entire country in every single state. We receive material from parents, from whistleblowers, from students, from all types of schools, private schools, Catholic schools, Christian schools, Jewish schools, and public schools. So this is not something that you can necessarily find comfort in, my kid goes to this type of school, this isn't going to happen there. Unfortunately, this is happening behind, just without our knowledge, without transparency. So we're finding this across all type of schools all throughout the country, not just in Victoria.
What's the reaction been from, I guess, the Jewish community and also the broader community around this area?
Well, the interesting thing is that you have a curriculum being pushed in through the government or through maybe third parties, right? And there's an assumption that this curriculum is substantiated. And I think once you expose it, there is no consensus on this. I think most people actually would think differently than what this curriculum is teaching and have ideas that are maybe either based on religion that are different or just based on their own moral values that really sort of compromise the safety and safeguarding of children. And if we can't all agree on the safeguarding of children, we're in sort of a social crisis, right? We have to all come together because this is a non-negotiable.
And what has that reaction been from the community to the event?
Well, I can only speak for myself, and I can only speak from my interaction with other parents. I receive a lot of support for this because it's something that is very much people are concerned about, but I think people are also afraid to speak up. We believe that the most compassionate way to treat children and the most inclusive way to treat children is to teach them to love themselves the way they are and not to go down a pathway of any sort of change or any sort of messaging that they were born wrong. We want to teach children that they are whole, just the way they are, mentally and spiritually and physically.
What do you expect to, or what are you hoping to achieve from the actual event?
Well, you know what? That's a great question. I think number one is awareness. I think you need awareness in order to inspire any action. And when people get in a room together, they feel a bit of strength. They feel a bit of, I'm not alone in this. Like, I had these concerns, or I had a concern about this, now I know more, or now I know where this comes from. So it's really just about getting the community together once and for all to create some sort of strength and pushback, because we do not agree with this and we want to push back against it.
When you say the community, are you talking about just the Jewish community or locals in general?
Not at all. I care about, all people. I think this is not a popular ideology. I've spoken to people in different communities, Filipino communities, Indian communities. I know Christian more in terms of, I know the Jewish community, but I also know the Christian community. And, I think there's a sense that we want to be an example, that this isn't okay. And we want to show that we stand up for our kids, and we believe in, the safeguarding of our kids, first and foremost. So we want to provide that example. And so we're finding consensus around this topic from a diverse group of people.
What would you say to people that would argue that you're essentially just creating a hate fest and organised by extremists and whatever? We've heard it all. What would your reaction be to those people?
It's a really quick answer. The group that works to protect children, especially the group in defense of children, we are the most diverse group of people. We probably disagree on 99% of things except for this. We are a group of people consisting of lesbians and gays, grandparents, parents, non-parents, transitioners. People who have fully transitioned are fighting against this, okay? Detransitioners. You can't believe the rainbow crew of people that are fighting against this, not just, Jewish and Christian, but complete atheists and agnostics. So we found really a topic that there isn't really an extremism. Like, you tell me what's so extreme about protecting children's innocence. No one has a right to take that away. And once it's taken away, you can't give it back. So we don't believe that anyone should have that sort of a control, especially something institutionalized.
Do you welcome people that might think that you're wrong?
Of course, this is why we're having a discussion. We're dealing with an ideology that is very new, it is unproven, and it's unsubstantiated. And we're dealing with a sexual liberation movement that is now fully in the schools. And we know how that ends. We have data to prove how that ends. So I can cite, dozens of studies that show this.
I dare say I'd argue that the extremists are those that want to cut off the organs of children, not those that want to discuss and highlight protecting them. Well, I guess, what are all the details?
So this Sunday, the 29th of September, in Caulfield, we have a link up, we have a flyer up. It's at 6 p.m. and we just hope to see you there.
Have you had any protest or any pushback?
No.
You might now.
Potentially, but we are ready for that.
Not afraid?
Not afraid at all. We believe that we're on the side of right in this debate, and we don't see a lot of gray area when it comes to the over-sexualization of children and pushing them down pathways of potential irreversible medical, psychological, and physical harm.
Most important question, what's a woman?
A woman is adult, human, female.
If you think it's important for every parent to educate themselves on this important issue, make sure to like, comment, but most importantly, share it far and wide. And make sure to share the event. Encourage your family and friends, especially in the local area, to get involved. The details you can find in the link below in the article. And then head over to followrv.com so you never miss a thing, just in case this is a subject that gets me banned off the platform you're watching right now. Followrv.com, follow me across all the platforms, including the mailing list.